the Brown boys, the Brown boys, the Brown boys, we the Brown boys, the Brown boys, we the Brown boys. But let's move on to Brown and Stephen A. Because yeah, this was big news yesterday.
Stephen A, Stephen B, fuck Stephen A. Stephen A, Stephen B, Stephen C. Like,
all right, I'm with you when you say F Stephen A, but I don't know about Stephen A, Stephen B, Stephen C. I think we could have. You need me to come write your jokes a little bit. You too smart. You too smart to make jokes like. You need more ignorant in you. I understand. You're too educated to get as ignorant as me. But yeah, Stephen A, we could have paused there. But Stephen B, Stephen C, yeah, we could have left that part out. I could have helped you with that. But let's keep hearing the rest.
my offer still stands.
Okay, so we got to talk about Stephen A. Smith and Jaylen Brown, man. Jaylen Brown went off calling out Stephen A. Smith for being a fake journalist. And we all know that Jaylen Brown confronted Stephen A. Smith a while ago when he pretty much called Stephen A. Smith a coward to his face, talking about Stephen A. Smith and these fake sources when they was leaking these rumors about Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown, it's not so much that he's underrated. It's that he's just not liked because of his quote, I am better.
Look at this script reading little B. He ain't even look up. He just reading off of a script, man. If this is what you actually think, why do you have to read it off a piece of paper? And if you just had notes to jog your memory, then you should just remember it after you had whatever line that refreshed your memory, then you could have remembered from that. He just looked like he's reading straight from a goddamn own script. That's crazy. Script reading, son of a beep.
Than you attitude. He knows it. It's the same reason he is not as marketable as he should be. That's what an NBA source just sent me.
This all kind of happened on your platform. I wanted to send a message to you. And I basically wanted to say that I think it's cowardice.
Okay, so Jaylen Brown was on stream. He's been doing these streams talking about the NBA and some journalists and Stephen A. Smith and people that's been talking about him. He's been doing some interviews and stuff like that as well in this offseason. And now he called out Stephen A. Smith. So let's check out this clip right here. And if you can, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. That really does help support my YouTube channel. I really do appreciate that. Thank you.
Get into the good stuff. This is where all the clickbaiters is ready to clip. Let's get into the good stuff. Last week, I had an exchange online with Stephen A., where he was vocal about what he thought I needed to do. And he also said some other things. So let's watch it together on stream chat. We can react to it together. This is just, we're just doing some investigative journalism. This is what one of the clips that was going viral from our exchange. This was his response.
On Jaylen Brown's program. You know where Jason Tatum was?
Oh, let's start it over.
That Jason Tatum hasn't appeared on Jaylen Brown's program.
Okay.
You know where Jason Tatum was? Right here on First Take.
Let's pause right there. What type of journalism is this? Jason Tatum hasn't been on my stream, and this is what we're talking about on First Take. What if JT just don't like being somewhere in an uncontrolled environment? Why are you doing journalism on me having guests on my stream? And this is a part of the reason why I started streaming. This is a part of the reason why people use the term clown and it synchronizes with someone like Stephen A. Smith. Because this is what you're using your platform for. What are you talking about?
Right. You would expect a YouTuber to just come out with shit like that. You don't expect this guy to come say that on his show on ESPN. Why are you saying that? Do you know it can only take away from these players when they speak more, especially one who is educated like Jaylen Brown, who's not just going to fall for the buffale, not just smile and talk just basketball talk all day. He's going to intimidate certain people because you can't use the same old trope that you use against him that you use against most people. You cannot call this guy a dumb jock. You cannot tell this guy to shut up and dribble. This guy's been to NASA. You can't use the same old shit. He's like an anomaly. He don't fit in really nowhere. He can't fit in with most of us regular black athletes, because most of us don't have the education that he had. And then he doesn't fit in with most of the white folks because he's going to intimidate most of them, because he's going to talk from a position of strength and education that a lot of white liberals don't like. And I'm not talking about the average everyday white American, because the average everyday white American too busy working. They don't give a damn. But those liberals that want to tell people how to think and control people, that run basketball in the media, they're not going to like a Jaylen Brown, because he's going to be hard to control and hard to get things across. And so that's why they don't like Jaylen Brown.
Let's continue.
So in other words, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum showed up on first take before he showed up on your damn show.
What does that have to do with anything? What? This is journalism. This is why I started streaming, chat. What does that have to do with basketball? What does that have to do with performance? What does that have to do with anything?
Oh, I can answer that, Jaylen. Nothing. But guess what? What do you expect from somebody that don't know Jack Judy about basketball? He don't know nothing about basketball. This guy is just as good as an encyclopedia. All he does is store data and information. He can tell you about who played in 1975. He could tell you what team Charles Barkley was the best on. And he could tell you all type of history, but he don't know Jack Judy about basketball. The game, the nuances, the way it's played, how you have to persevere through injury, through personal situation. He don't know what the hell he talking about. He's an entertainer. He's there to create these type of stories. And especially when it's a guy like you, because they got to take away from a guy like you. $300 million, no scandals, no kids, no drama. Yeah, we got to take away from you, buddy. So any small, minute story, any goddamn thing we can use, we going to use it. Whether you like it or not. And that's how he going to say it. That's not me saying it, but that's how he going to say it. I actually respect Jaylen Brown and his walk, but Stephen A, he's everything that Stephen A is not. He's a good basketball player. He's actually smart without a thesaurus in a dictionary. And you can't use all the stuff that he used against Jaylen Brown to take away from him. So the lowest bottom of the barrel shit that he can find is, why come your teammate ain't been on your podcast? How come Skip ain't been on your podcast? How come Skip only come when he on ESPN to talk to you? You got your own show. Skip ain't come not one time. So we all can just make up stuff. How come Allen Iverson ain't come on your show if you down with all the brothers? You know?
Relative to like the game, you know what I mean? It doesn't. And this is where, why people call him out, because he uses his platform and his nature. And his nature can be, this causes issues.
And then this is stuff that's just flying over your head. You think nobody notices that hasn't happened? You're saying it's the year that Jason Tatum was down with an Achilles tear is your favorite year? The year that Jason Tatum had to sit out, this closeout game 7 because of the injury he incurred against.
What's up, Jess?
Favorite year? The year?
I think they might be able to hear it better now.
Pull this up a little bit.
Which one?
That's up. Yeah, go this way. Keep going. Try there. Yeah, see now.
That you lose 3-1. Of all the stars in the history of the Boston Celtics, you the only one because you were driving the bus. Ain't nobody pointing at Jason Tatum. He was sitting.
Right.
He was sitting. He was in street clothes. You the only one. The only star in the history of the Boston Celtics that ever lost a 3-1 lead and surrendered it, and that's your favorite year. Why? Because you and your teammates developed better chemistry? Like the robbery? You understand? Because you overcame adversity?
See, this is where I got to pause again. See, this is a narrative that he's creating. This is in journalism. This is him making his own opinion and formalizing it about what I had to say on his platform. And this is why, respectfully, a lot of people say Stephen A. Because this is the type of stuff he does, and then he doesn't recognize it. But he's creating a narrative saying that the reason why I'm saying that I had my favorite season is because selfishly I had a best performing year. Not the fact that we outproved expectations, not the fact that everybody expected us to be nothing and we had to fight and we showed up and we competed every single day and we had to fight for every victory. Not the joy of watching our teammates grow, or not the joy of watching guys who are unproven start to solidify themselves as well through leadership, through chemistry. Like, he maybe not doesn't understand that because maybe he's never had to fight for nothing in his life. Maybe anytime adversity is hit, he's rolled over or he's gave in. So he thinks it's the same thing as somebody who has little to no expectation, and they stood up and they made a name for themselves. He may not understand that concept, and that's why he's pushing his narrative. But once again, this is what Stephen A. is using his platform for. Let's see what he finishes.
What happens? What's the remedy? Given all these things you're pointing out, I'm with you. But that's why I brought up the whole trade thing again. What are you going to do about it?
I don't mind. But what I'm saying is the first order of business is that he needs to be quiet and like.
Let me stop right there. Did you just say I needed to be quiet? Be quiet for who? Man, Stephen A. Stephen A, Stephen B, Stephen C. Like, my offer still stands. You want me to be quiet and stop streaming? Well, I want you to be quiet and get off these networks, because you're not using your platform to do real journalism. You're using your platform to use clickbait. You're using tell this motherfucker to retire, because he's the face of clickbait media at the point. And maybe with his retirement, we could spark a movement to get the rest of these motherfuckers out of here, or to also have some type of forget journalistic integrity, actual integrity, in order to hold themselves accountable to the bullshit they put out with no basis, no bias, no information, just narrative, just for the sake of just pushing a weak narrative, just purely out of that. I'll give it up. I'll pass streaming. I'll sign some streamers or some shit. I'll you know what I mean? It ain't a big deal. Y'all ain't never heard from me before this. Think about it. I don't do no media, no podcasts. I don't do none of that. I barely post on social media. But the fact is that my obligation is to, as an athlete, I'm obligated to speak to the media. It's my job. Like, he thinks the media is his job, and so is it. It's my job too. It's in my contract. If I do not speak to the media, then I will be fined. So when they use that comparison where it's my job, it's your job to play basketball, it's also my job to speak to the media. It is also my job to speak to the media.
He's right. It is his job to speak to the media. That is definitely his job. Shit, they used to make me speak to them bloodsuckers, and I used to just stay silent, or I would just be like, I don't know, because they always lie. When they have it in for you and they have a narrative that they want to run about you, they constantly hit you with disrespectful questions or investigative type of journalism type of questions that don't got shit to do with basketball. They have picks of who they want to respect and like. And I don't know what this guy has done to people, but he's just a guy that they just don't want to like. And that's okay. But you don't have to put nothing negative on the man's name just because you don't like him. That's the only thing that people got to understand. You don't have to put something negative on someone's name because you don't like them. Like, that's crazy. And the man can't be proud of his season that he led the team. He didn't ask Jaylen Brown, well, why are you proud of this season? The man said logical things, because nobody expected Boston to get where they went. I thought it was a wash for them. When Tatum went down, I'm like, oh, there it is. It's over with. But what did we see? We saw Brown step his game to another level. And instead of people talking about that, they want to make it seem like he's selfish. If he would have played bad, they would have said, see, he can't play without Tatum. He goes out there and kick ass, and then they say, well, he did it. He liked this season because he's selfish. No, he liked the season because he showed that without Tatum, with the chip stacked against them, that team insulated themselves. They banded together and they played with what they had. And Tatum should not have come back. What the hell are you doing coming back from an Achilles injury in 1 year? You ain't gonna do nothing but the other leg up. So now Tatum, instead of him sitting out, fully recovering and going through a full summer of training and not training where you're rushing, when he thought he was ready, he should have took another month. When they tell us all the time, when you think you're ready, take another 2 weeks. But he didn't want to do that. He wanted to play right then. And what happened? He injured his other leg. Now he got to go through rehab again this summer. He got to start the process again instead of coming back to training camp healthy. And him coming back could have messed up the chemistry that they had going on. Those guys were playing at a high level. So Stephen A., you don't know shit about that. And so that's why you couldn't speak towards a guy who he was hearing the media saying it's over for Boston. And then he grabbed that team by the horns, him and his teammates, and they did a great job. He can't be proud of that. It got to be a disdain or a disrespect to somebody else for him to be proud that he helped uplift a team that nobody thought was going to be there. And Stephen A., you said you ain't scared to talk to nobody. How come me and you ain't never talked yet? I'm on Jason Whitlock. I done gone on a lot of shows. You done been all around the world talking about me, but won't talk to me. You still a coward, son. You came to a YouTube space because I said that your bitch ass work for ESPN. You don't have your own thing. You a boy. And so I leveled you up. Now you got your own. And you still scared to come over here and answer. You want to still get the people to say it's about basketball when we saw you on stage at colleges and high schools talking about one particular player, dummy. So all this blackety black man talk that you like to speak on, but you still won't come have that conversation that you need to have. You owe that to me, boy. When you gonna be a man? You said if anybody call you out, you'll be there. You'll talk that dark tone. You'll talk like you tough. If you want me to, I'll pull up on you. It's just for a conversation. You ain't scared, is you? I ain't gonna stand over you like LeBron. I ain't gonna threaten to slap the shit out you. It wouldn't be worth my time. But I know you in a conversation with me. I know damn well you're not willing to have that conversation. I know you're not. Because Jalen Rose tried to give your stupid ass the out, but you have no talent. So what you do, and most guys like you, when you have no talent, you use that reasoning that you got. You be like, well, fuck it, I don't got no talent, so I gotta eat. So all you do is talk shit. Now I hope you do hear this, Stephen A. You done pulled up on Gilbert Arenas talking about me. You done went on ESPN talking about me. You done went on several shows and they've asked you questions about me. And you do all this talking. I feel bad for the brother. I can hear the anger. Dumbass boy, anybody would be angry with a broke knee, bald head, ahi tuna jellyfish like you, talking about them in front of white folks, ruining their contracts. And, you know, when teams would want to sign me, I remember I would have had a signing. Oh, they want to sign you for $45 million because that's what the numbers say. But when somebody has sullied your name and muddied the waters with your name so much, how can you get fanfare excited around signing somebody that you're calling a bust for $36 million? Not even the mid-level exception at the time. How can you get a team excited about signing a guy for $45 million, $50 million when you calling him a bust, but the numbers say at the time that's what he should have got signed for? So what do teams do? Okay, we're gonna give you that number. We're gonna give you that $8-10 million a year number, but we gotta shorten the years. We can't do 5 years with you. We can't do 6. Stephen A. Smith done said all this stuff. So it's a real horrible thing surrounding this guy. And y'all swear up and down it got anything to do with oh, he didn't like because the way he played. No, they sick this boy on certain people. They sick this little weasel on certain people. And I don't know why people listen to his basketball talk. He doesn't know how to play basketball. He don't know shit about basketball. But hey, but Stephen A., I'm still here, buddy. I know you thought it was going to be 15 minutes, but I'm still here. And so whenever you want to have that sit down like a man on why you was going to these high school and to colleges and what were you trying to get them to learn? And what do you think was their takeaway? What was beneficial about your visit at these colleges and high school? I'm even giving you the questions so you can go to your bosses and they can chat GPT your answers for you. Because I know you ain't going to be able to answer these questions. And I got a few more that I'm withholding. So go ask your bosses, can you talk to me? Boy, I'm going to act like Nate. Boy.
Fine if I don't.
Okay, so that's it for today's video, guys. Man, I just want to show y'all guys that clip of Jaylen Brown calling out Stephen A. Smith. Like I said, man, this is not the first time Jaylen Brown has called out and checked Stephen A. Smith for his journalism and stuff like that. And yeah, man, you know, Jaylen Brown's going to stand on business when it comes to that. So
Look at these shows, man. These shows ain't about basketball no more. These shows is about beefing and beefing on the set. Look at all these shows. They ain't nothing but they told me, Kwame, you don't supposed to be beefing with black men. But look at these men on these shows. They monetizing it on these shows where these white people are paying these guys to argue and disrespect each other on their show. When you can do that on your own goddamn show. Like I'm telling you, you can do that on your own show. It's sad, man. It is sad, man. Unbelievable.